First recognize the distinguished Congresswoman from Milwaukee, Ms. Moore, for her 5-minute question.
Who has amazing fingernails. You see this?
Thank you so much. You know, I was thinking back to and Mr. Barry, you'll appreciate this, my obsession with language and foreign languages and trying to learn them and failing miserably. And sort of the use of kind of superlatives like all and across the board. I think that's where I'm starting to have some problems when I read the very complicated material and I thank all of our very distinguished guests. And I guess where I want to start, maybe Mr. Ferry, I'll start with you since you're sitting right there and you just finished testifying and really claimed such great, you seem to be very fond of the thought of tariffs. But don't you think that the tariffs that President Trump provided in his first administration basically did nothing until there was some industrial policy linked with it. When Biden came along, many people said, well, why didn't he end the tariffs if tariffs are so bad and might increase prices and so on? Don't you think it's because the CHIPS and science provisions, the reduction in Reflation Act, that all these things really wrapped some policy and created a raison d'etre for the tariffs? I'm thinking of my own senator, Senator Tammy Baldwin, who very successfully pushed the Buy America and helped the steel industry, but it wouldn't have helped us very much had we not put some policy and stuff behind it to incent investments in that. So I'm wondering if one of the mistakes that all of us might be making is the use of the word all. Because I think that when I hear about these cross the board tariffs, and I'm not an expert at these things, I wonder if that won't have major winners and losers, if it won't invite some grift, quite frankly, or it won't invite certain groups of people to, come in and ask to be excluded versus other groups. And so I'm wondering if, Mr. Ferry, just first, very quickly, will you admit that you got to have some industrial policy wrapped around the tariffs, else they may not?
No, prosper. I don't agree, Congresswoman.
Anybody agree with me on the panel? Mr. Duke?
Yeah, so I think the key thing is that, the Biden administration showed that you can combine, strategic investments in certain industries with the tariffs to push forward. The problem with across the board is you can't do industrial policy on everything, right? There's no industrial policy by which the United States is going to produce coffee or bananas. That is not going to happen. And so why are we taxing that? Again, tariffs lose their efficacy in terms of, they drive production to a certain industry, but if we're doing to every industry, it just doesn't make any sense, right? So I think that's the key thing, is that it just kind of devalues that. There's costs to, driving that production in a certain industry, but they can be worth it on national security or other grounds. But doing it on everything just doesn't make any sense.
Can I explain a little bit my answer, Congresswoman? I think we saw very clearly that tariffs on their own benefited many industries. The U.S. ITC study showed that out of 12 industries they studied, including steel, production increased in all of those 12 industries, and that involved more jobs. They did not study washing machines, which is one of the best examples of success. Now, I agree with you that there are places where industrial policy can play a role.
Before my time runs out, Ms. York, Mr. Gresser, let's talk about washing machines. Won't we have, and my time expired, won't we have the makers of dryers just automatically raising their prices because they can?
Yes, that's what we observed with the tariffs. The price of washers and dryers both went up by about $90 each, and that led to billions in added costs for consumers. And if you look at the billions in added costs per job saved, it's extremely wasteful. We're paying a lot more than the people in those jobs are earning. And I would say on the US ITC report, they did find production would increase in protected industries, but that came at a cost to downstream industries like construction, like equipment manufacturers, who then had to pay higher costs for their inputs.
Yes, if I could add just a bit. In terms of home appliances, probably advantage some and disadvantage others, but we have fewer people making home appliances now than we did before the tariffs. Likewise, the ITC's look at the steel industry showed, yes, that it benefited them a bit as of 2021. They had grown by 2.2 billion along with aluminum, but steel users, include in particular auto parts, machinery, cutlery and tools shrank by 3.5 billion. So the result was a slightly smaller manufacturing sector with a slightly larger metals sector within it. And you always have to count who is the losers as well as the winners when you're assessing a policy.
My time has expired. Thank you.